to say Crawford. If you go down the list and ask me about tactical advantages, most of them are Crawford. What Canelo has is size, and as a result, physical strength and punching power.
And Stephen A. Smith sit down to analyze the blockbuster showdown between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Stephen A. predicts Crawford will win by decision, but warns that it won't come easy. He recalls Gervonta Davis's warning that if Crawford trades too much, he could end up in trouble. With Canelo's natural size and power advantage, Stephen A. insists Crawford must lean on his defense, speed, and ring IQ rather than standing toe-to-toe. For him, strategy, not brute strength, would decide this fight.
They both hit hard. Because and you can see the strength. You know, when I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah, but why does he need to give that much away? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go up and fight?
Max adds that Crawford's skill set currently looks sharper, giving him a clear technical edge. However, he points out Canelo's granite chin and naturally larger frame would allow him to absorb punishment and hit harder in exchanges. Still, Kellerman notes that Canelo hasn't looked as dominant in recent outings, showing signs of decline. For him, the fight comes down to timing versus durability. Crawford's precision against Canelo's toughness.
Every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yes.
And that's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble, and I'm not sure it was him, but I think it was him. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's going to go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight.
Former champion and respected analyst Antonio Tarver throws his support behind Crawford, but admits this is the biggest challenge of his career. Tarver stresses that while Crawford has conquered multiple divisions, facing Canelo is a whole new level. He also argues that Canelo himself has never faced a fighter like Crawford, making this matchup one of a kind.
A great chin. But in terms of if you want to go skill for skill, especially the recent version of Canelo, who's had to turn into a seek and destroy guy, who had to learn as his career went on to cut off the ring and not just follow guys around. Like Lara, Trout, Floyd, he followed those guys around. He had trouble because he's really a natural counterpuncher who wants you to come to him. But in recent years at super middleweight, he's gotten really good at cutting off the ring. Again, last fight notwithstanding. So as an overall suite of skills, recent vintage, it's been Crawford. Okay. But Canelo also is skilled and has a larger skeleton than Crawford. No matter what they weigh, Canelo's the bigger guy.
Yeah. You briefly mentioned Canelo's power, so who I would assume Canelo has the
You'd have to think, unless Crawford was on a knockout streak until he moved up to junior middleweight and then failed to stop Madrimov.
Timothy Bradley expects a cautious first round, with both men using the opening minutes to study each other rather than take risks. Bradley points out that Crawford is famously patient, preferring to gather information before setting traps. Canelo, too, has shown a tendency to feel out the distance early before adjusting. Bradley predicts a chess match at the start. Less fireworks, more strategy.
You know I'm Bud County all the way, but this is going to be the toughest fight, the best fighter Bud has ever been in the ring with. And arguably, this could be the best fighter Canelo has ever been in the ring with. We'll find out which one is which on September 13th.
Antonio, I appreciate your time. Safe travels back home.
Man, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Antonio.
Amir Khan, who has fought both men, gives a unique perspective. He praises Crawford's greatness at welterweight, but warns that weight divisions exist for a reason. Moving up to face naturally bigger men like Canelo is dangerous. Khan argues Crawford didn't need to take this fight to cement his legacy, but admires the ambition. He sees it as a daring gamble, one that could either elevate Crawford into history or put his career at serious risk.
Crawford wants to feel his punching power as well.
In the beginning, it's all the balance. Like both guys are trying to get balance and trying to find their rhythm, understanding their distance to where they can punch and at the same time avoid getting hit. It takes Crawford a little bit more time than I would say Canelo to get right to it. Canelo, although he is a prolific counterpuncher, fantastic counterpuncher, he tends to find his spots a lot quicker. And the indication of that is if you look at any of the boxers that Canelo has faced, Trout, even Danny Jacobs, even when he fought against Charlo, you just check out the first round. He usually takes off, just feels the power, cruises, see what these guys know, couple of feints, level changes, gathering information, right? Crawford does the same and similar things. So I think the first round is going to be a real calm and cautious round by both fighters. But in the second round, Canelo's going to start applying that pressure, man. Pre-engagement with Crawford is a little bit more difficult than a Charlo, okay? Let me explain this. So pre-engagement is the movements before you get into that sweet spot, which is mid-range, to be able to let your hands go, right? Both guys are trying to counter each other's movement. Both guys are looking at each other's, hands, trying to anticipate what they believe is going to come next.
Promoter Tom Loeffler looks at the spectacle itself. He calls this one of the biggest fights of the modern era, not just in skill, but in cultural reach. Canelo represents boxing's established face, while Crawford has risen to pound-for-pound king. For Loeffler, this is a clash of empires, and the hype is fully justified.
All the build-up, they're nothing but respectful. I just feel that in boxing, weight divisions are made there they make them for a purpose, and I highly respect and say pound for pound the best fighter is Crawford by far and beats anyone. But when you start putting weight on and you go up a weight and you fight these guys like Canelo, even though Canelo might be now getting a little bit older and it might be slowing down a little bit, but he's still going to be very dangerous. That punch power, you're still going to get tagged, you're still going to get hit. You're going to have to spar heavier guys to get ready for that anyway. So you're going to be taking a lot of wear and tear anyway. You're going to have to put adding a few pounds on. Does he need to put that pressure on himself? He's done what no one's ever done before. 2-time undisputed world champion. So why not just enjoy? But obviously you want to go for that next challenge. Now for him, he wants to go for that Canelo. I would advise him not to go for that. But if he's the man and he knows how good he is himself. So I can't really say to him that do this or do that. So really,
he believes in his skills. He feels
he believes in his skill. Yeah. We can't answer for him. Yeah. We let him go and do it. You know what I'm saying? And we all might be wrong. Yeah. He might be even stronger than Canelo. He might pack the weight on well that he might do really well in there. So look,
you fought them both. Like what are the differences between them? Obviously, it's weight.
Canelo's strong and he's easily hit. Very easily hit, very easily. Yeah. Compared to when I fought against Crawford, I couldn't even hit clean. Yeah. So really, that's the difference. And they both hit hard. Yeah. Because and you could see the strength. When I was fighting against Crawford, I didn't think Crawford was that strong, but when he kind of moved me around a little bit, he is very strong as well. So look, yeah. But why does he need to give that much weight? He's pound for pound #1 in the world. Why does he have to go up and fight?